quick. Let me get you to move the mic down just a little bit. Move it down and then angle it up towards you. Yeah, there we go.
You still hear better?
No, like the audio was great. It was just covering up
visual?
the lower
Gotcha.
part of your face, and I know the ladies out there want to see the face.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's perfect.
Yeah, this one thing, since you brought up women, I can say this since we talked about it before, David.
Let's do it.
Like, man, I've went through a lot with. I'm going to be honest. That's one of my traumas was sex.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of people don't like to talk about these type of things, but they'd be like, oh, I'm good. Nah, like stop. Like there was at times like I was unhappy with what I've done, and I've hurt a lot of women's feelings, and I didn't like that feeling. For me, I've been a dog before. I've cheated before, and all these things. Like I'm not ashamed to say it. And like for me, I'm gonna be real. Like I've been on semen retention for a while now, for almost
we spoke on that
2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
I haven't had sex in a minute, and I'm real careful who I give it to. You know what I mean? And like the next person I'm gonna give is my wife.
I love it, bro.
So I know you out there. You probably gonna be seeing this. Just be ready.
There you go.
So, but it's gonna be tantra. It's gonna be tantra. It's gonna be spiritual. It's gonna be something, because that's what sex is about.
Yeah.
And that's why in the music industry, in the hip hop industry, and all this, they manipulate it so badly. Like I'm gonna be honest. And of course, I'm a hip hop fan. I love Nas. I love Jay-Z. I used to like Jay-Z.
You did music? Were you like rapping or were singing?
No, I was just helping some of the homies. I was gonna be like an actual DJ as well too.
Okay, got you.
And like music is everything to me.
Yeah.
And like I'm an old hip hop head, man, like 90s to the 2000s, and that's always been me. And just music.
Who's the guy that you really are like, hip hop artist that you really admire the most?
Nas.
Nas
He speaks consciousness.
Yes.
And, there we go. Yeah.
Like he's just, man. The first time I listened to him, it was like, whoa. And of course, there's some other ones out there. Of course, you got some underground artists like Sky Zoo or Elzai. Man, so many. Of course, you got your Pac, you got your Biggie. Of course, the old Jay-Z. I don't like to listen to as much as anymore,
Not
but
the new stuff, huh?
Yeah, all the good.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm from Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn in the 80s and 90s. So
there you go.
That Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang, Tribe Called Quest.
Absolutely.
Man, so many of them, man. So Mos Def, Talib Kweli.
Oh yeah. I was a DJ back in the day too.
Oh really?
In Brooklyn. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
DJ for a few years. It was good. I got vinyl records from my DJing days. But
that's what's up, man.
Man.
I'm a huge fan. I'm talking about, like, if you see my playlist, it's nothing but like, oh man, I can't even. Ooh, there's a lot of names that I get passionate with that, man. And
that's dope.
And one other artist too I love the most is Jadakiss. So that man, when I first seen, the last thing I seen was that Dipset in the Diplomats versus the Lox.
Okay.
So it just brought back that era, that mecca of hip hop.
Right.
So I fell in love with that. I'm still in love with that, man. Because like today, I'm gonna be real. Today's music it's not kicking it, man. I can't do it. I just can't accept it.
Yeah.
Like it's, it is what it is.
It's a different era.
Yeah, it's a whole different era. And for me, I still listen to the old stuff still, and of course R&B today as well too. It's not the same, and I still listen to the old stuff. So
sure.
But yeah, man, like that's one. If I had to pick one, it would be Nas, and not just because of his hits. It's just the way the lyrics, the way he be spitting out is truth.
Yeah.
He's very consciousness, man. And he still does it to this day. And many artists are not doing that right now. So, and of course, I had certain people that said, well, consciousness doesn't pay here and there. It's like, well, to me, I disagree.
Sure.
So, because right now, the rise of consciousness is rising up because Christ consciousness. So, and that's what's taking over. We're in power now. The healers are in power now. We're taking over. And the way we're taking over, we're making things better.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, just like when I tell people, we tell the collective, like, we all just come together. Like, we can't depend our leaders. We can't. We got to be the ones to change this world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm stepping into it. I'm speaking my words out. And that's why I want to give a shout out to all the awakened people, all the wake seekers, man. They're trying to push the message out, man. And of course, you know, you can't wake everybody up. It's up to them. All you can do is just drop gems.
Right.
And that's it.
But I mean, I think also when we talk about like healing, like people have to recognize that they need it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everybody, like America's maybe in the world, is in deep need of healing.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, but how do you do that? You know, you got to take the steps toward it. First of all, you got to admit that you need it.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of men and women out there don't admit that they need healing. So.
They think that they already got it all figured out, and it's
absolutely.
just like it's like no, like we've been programmed our whole life the wrong way, and it's bad throughout.
Reprogram,
yes,
renew our minds,
wire our brains, man.
Yeah, rewire. There you go. So that's what's so interesting is that's what happened to me. So I, like when I had the brain injury, like it rewired me. There was something that I seen the other day too that says like I want to say that I looked up the neurons in the brain. I want to say that there's like 81 billion neurons.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
In the human mind.
81.
Something like that number. But I'm like, wow, that's insane because they're just bridges that connect messages and information.
Yeah.
And it goes.
Think about that, bro. Those, and like you said, those are all portals, and like they create realities. You know, all those different bridges.
Mm-hmm. And other dimensionals as well too, because we're all multi-dimensional beings. I know I am. So but of course we're in this avatar that we're in right now. So why you think the Avatar they bring out the movie, like they speak out a lot of truth.
Sure.
A lot of these movies they speak out a lot of truth.
Okay.
So the subliminals and everything, like they've been putting it right in front of our faces. And of course, you know how you have people, it's just a movie. It's not.
No. You need to pay attention, be conscious. Yeah.
So
86 billion. Sorry. 86 billion
you were
neurons.
Close. You said 81. You were right on.
Very close.
Yeah.
But,
I thought it was 81, honestly.
The neurons are information messengers. They use electrical impulses and chemical signals to transmit information between different areas of the brain and between the brain and the rest of the nervous system. Wow. So it's like, but anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to correct that. Sorry about that.
No, you good. You're good, bro. Do your thing, man. That's why we're here.
Come on, dude.
But, yeah, man, like, they show it. They have to show it. Like for me, I'm a huge Marvel and DC fan.
Yeah.
And they show a lot of it in there, and it's unbelievable. And that's one of the other things too that it's been inspiring me to work out as well, because I know I'm a superhero as well.
Okay.
We all of us are. Not just only me, the two of y'all too. Absolutely. So I mean, we all got our own superpowers.
Nice.
So that, like I said, they have to show it. But like it's everywhere. You know, you ask God for a sign, He'll give you a sign. Mm-hmm. Like from a billboard, from a radio station, from your phone,
from another vessel, another human.
David, you were talking about this the other day, man.
Yeah,
signs
I've been
all
getting
around.
many messages, man.
Mm-hmm.
It just that's how I hear a lot of stuff too. Is like I hear people that fill themselves up with the Holy Spirit, and then like they'll come and they'll say things that are like aligned with what's going on in my life, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Spirit is strong with you, David. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Thank you, bro.
Spirit is really strong with you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying, man, because I'm when I read that King David was a man after God's heart. Mm-hmm. That's when I said, man, that's what I need to do right there. And when I came back from the healing, that was the main thing that I wanted to do. Kind of similar to what you were doing, was I wanted to discover what true love really was.
Yes.
And then that's when I got into the Word, and that's when I found 1 Corinthians 13:4-8, but that's what led me to having that conversation with you, was understanding true love. The other thing I was wanting to touch on though with you, man, is like, and this kind of crossed my path again today with another gentleman that I met at church today. I was trying to get his name, but Rob Font. His name's Rob Font. I ended up speaking to him. He's a cameraman, and we was doing this conference at a Brave conference at City Life Church today, and just kind of briefly ran into him in the room. One of the leaders at the church had asked me to click a button, like inside. Like I was in the back corner, like ushering, and he's like, "Yo, just go into this room in 7 minutes and click this button." I'm like, "Oh man, I can't mess this up." So he showed me. So I'm like waiting, and then this cameraman comes in, and I'm like, "Oh," and we end up talking. And Rob Font, he was from Chicago,
Word.
and he just, we started talking, and everything that he's done in his life, he had no college training, no accolades. but it just kind of fell into his lap, kind of like the modeling with you.
Yeah.
So that's how you kind of know that you're like walking in your purpose, is when it just kind of like is given to you.
Yes.
You know, and it's like on a silver platter, right? And you're like, oh wow. And that's what happened to him. That's how he even got into cameraman and all that. He's like, man, he was doing something prior to that. I think it had something to do with music as well. He's from Chicago. And then, man, I was like, yo, something's going on lately, man, with Chicago, because I met a woman that's from Chicago, and and I shared that with him. And I was like, man, something's up, man. I was like, man, when I think about Chicago, I think about Common. And he's like, yo, I just did some work with Common. I'm like,
that's crazy.
Oh, interesting.
Common as hell, man.
But he wants to he wants to connect as well. Like I told him about Better Gents and stuff. But he was taking a break. He does camera work on tour with like Maverick City. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Nah, I haven't.
They're a big Christian band.
Okay.
Maverick City, and there was another big name that he mentioned. But he was on a break right now. That's why he was able to do some work with City Life. So I was like, I just happened to run into this guy, but that's what happens, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how those things line up, man. It's insane. And you've got so many stories lately.
Yeah, he's just placing little pieces and I think like we're all gonna come together here soon, and we're gonna be working, because what's happening is all the people with huge hearts are connecting.
Yes.
And I think that's what we recognized first about each other when we met. I was like, man, this dude got a good heart.
Yeah.
And even Rick, I'm like, Rick has a good heart. He tries, he's trying to like look out for people.
Yeah. Shout out to Rick, man.
Shout out to Rick, man. Ricardo's Menswear. Yeah, man. Shout out to Rick, because that really tied us together.
Yeah.
And then and that's kind of led us, to this conversation today. Rick Rollins, man. He also does some work on Channel 10. That's how we had Jabari on.
Yeah, we got to get Jabari back.
We got to get Jabari back on.
Yeah.
But Arlene Brooks from that coffee shop, which I want to bring on here, she's the one who connected me with Rick Rollins.
Okay.
But speaking of that, that's kind of what had happened with this woman that has come into my life. Her name's Monica Grace. We had her on here.
She's been on the show a couple times.
Nice. But I had met Monica Grace at Arlene's coffee shop. A year ago, because I did some poetry there, and then Arlene was so inspired by the poetry that I did that she said, I want you to come back later this week and sit down and have coffee with me at my shop. I said, okay. So I came back, we sat down, we talked for like 3 or 4 hours, we laughed together, we cried together. She had a really strong spiritual story where she trusted God and she followed him to where she's at now. And one of the things she taught me was about confirmation. She's like, when you pray, ask God for confirmation. If you pray for something,
prayer is powerful.
Yes, prayer is very powerful. But as we were sitting there talking, this lady walked in, and she introduced me to her, briefly, and then she walked out. And I didn't really pay much attention to her. I don't even remember the lady. But anyways, so fast forward to where we are today. A couple weeks ago, I posted a picture with Monica Grace where we were in front of my house where I'm staying at right now with John, and a butterfly came into the picture.
That's an omen.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
That's like transformation.
Yep.
It means there's a lot of things that the butterfly means, and it's just so interesting. It almost looks like a bat. It's so big in this photo. But anyways, Arlene, so I was like, so some things have been happening with Monica, and not sexually or anything like that, but just like a lot of spiritual things, and I'm like, this is kind of strange. So I've been praying, and I'm like, God, please tell me if this is my wife or what direction that I'm going, like let me know. And then the woman that taught me about confirmation calls me to give me confirmation. So she calls me on the phone the other night. She says, oh, so Monica Grace, huh? She saw the photo. She's like, man, that's beautiful. I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah, remember when I introduced you guys? And I'm like, no, I don't remember. And she goes, really, David? She said, you so blind, boy. She said, like, I introduced you to Monica Grace. And I was like, no, I met her at a City Life church, And she's like, nope. So finally I had to think about it, But anyways, we went on with the conversation. I still didn't click. But I'm like, okay, and then when she started to talk about it, I'm like, oh, that's Monica, because Monica does like face makeup and all that for her as well. But anyways, as we started to talk about her more, she's like, I'm just calling to give you confirmation that, you know, what I felt on my spirit, God told me to tell you that, you know, I confirm what you're thinking. And I was like,
Whoa.
oh, wow.
Powerful.
Yeah. I was like, okay. Thank you,
Sounds like
Arlene.
she was,
I appreciate you, you know?
Very intuitive.
Oh,
as
she is. She's very, like, and that's what has got her to where she's at. She's just follow God.
So that woman you didn't remember meeting, she introduced you to.
That was Monica.
So when I got off the phone, I called Monica and I was like, so Arlene said that she introduced us, and she's like, huh. She's like, yeah, you know, I remember that day, but I don't remember who I met. We both didn't. We were both blind. We didn't realize that we met each other before we even met each other.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Wow.
So
What a
that's kind of
story.
interesting, right?
Yes.
At a coffee shop, how storybook, like,
Yeah.
you know, movie.
That is. It sounds like
you
it.
know.
That's cool.
And then I see her at the talent show a couple months later, and one of my exes was with me. And I met Monica at a talent show. I did some poetry there, but we were both following what God told us to do. She dropped everything in Chicago and moved here because God told her that her husband's here.
Oh, okay.
She left and moved here. But so she was doing the talent show because she danced. She likes to dance, and I did some poetry there. I was doing what God told me to do. So that was the first time I thought I met her.
Yeah.
And then I had one of my exes with me at the time. And she's like, yeah, I thought that, you know, she came up and talked to me. We had a good conversation, but she didn't push any further because she saw my ex with me. She didn't know if we were together or whatnot. So she kind of was blocking maybe a possible blessing, and I didn't even realize it, you know, because my ex wasn't trying to be with me.
Yeah.
She was there blocking my blessings,
Mhm.
you know, I'm blocking hers,
Yeah.
you know, at the same time. So, but anyways, just speaking about like confirmation and how God lines things up and
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's just interesting. There's so many other things that are like connected to this, and it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. But another thing that's been happening, Christian, is my brother-in-law is he does videography work and photography, and his passion is to make Christian faith-based movies. And but he hasn't stepped into it. He's been doing all this other stuff, you know, getting distracted, but doing the camera work, but doing stuff for other people. You know, he has a big heart.
That's good.
But you know, he had a prophet come up to him, and, you know, and Monica's a prophet as well. But he had another prophet come up to him and say, "Hey, man," you know, they were at a music festival, like watching a band. He grabbed him and he says, "Hey, man, why are you not doing what God told you to do?" He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you're supposed to be making Christian short films." He's like, "How's this dude know that?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's just a
yeah,
random
you
dude.
know, like, yeah. So like,
That's
but
a
that's
lot.
how God works, right?
Yes.
He's like, so
That's
it
a
got
sign,
Brandon
that's a sign.
thinking now, like, this dude doesn't even know me. He came
Right.
up to me, and so it's like, maybe I need to like get back on track, you know, because I told him, like, you're probably like the Christian Tyler Perry. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Oh, that's whoa.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
imagine what we can do with like faith-based movies. So and then all of a sudden, now God is bringing models, actors into my life.
Yep.
Like, you know, you're an actor, you're a model. I talked to Novocaine. She's an actress. She's a model. She's talking about coming on the show here, one of our next episodes, I believe.
Sure.
And then Ashley Wooten, who's a local director in Tampa that I grew up with. Well, went to school. We knew of each other. We weren't like besties or nothing like that. But you know, I sat down with her like 4 or 5 months, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. We had lunch at the Oxford Exchange.
Okay.
And we talked about some things and what we could do moving forward, and you know, we just planted some seeds.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to tie like all this together. Like maybe, you know, Brandon coming together with Ashley. You know, I don't know. You know, I'm just kind of thinking. I'm like, just put people around each other and see what happens, right?
Yeah, man.
You
I
know?
mean, that's how things.
Then if we need, you know, we need actors and actresses, like he's starting to put those like in our life now.
That's how things get started, dude.
And
Just put
better
the right
gents.
people together.
Yeah.
You know, put them together in a room and see what happens. And dude,
Yo, and Better Gents is kind of like tying that together as well, because we've had comedians come on. So if we need a comedian in the film,
Yes,
you know, be
sir.
like, yo, hey, Darrell, Jacoby,
Kobe, yeah.
hey, John.
Yeah, we need to get John.
Buddy John, man, he
get
needs
John
to
on
get in.
stage.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. So like, it's just really interesting, like how things are like coming together. And then the other day, like Monica's at and I was telling you this. I didn't tell you this, Chris, in the room the other day, but is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Monica, like we're hanging out after we did breakfast with the pastor at Activation Church, Pastor Samuel, which he wants to come on the show. We did some breakfast with him in the morning out in Port Richey, and then when we left there, we went back to Brandon and Jenny's house.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there and we're all having a great time. Like, that's another thing. That's more confirmation. Like, I kind of wanted a woman that's like my sister. Like, she was the first woman that I saw that was like, wow, this is an amazing woman.
Yes.
And she prays over her husband. She just, man, just
Beautiful.
talk to her about anything. She's amazing. Like, the first time I saw like a whole woman, I was like, this is amazing.
Beautiful,
So,
man.
but her and Monica, like, I'll show you pictures. They hit it off. Like, they just, and I had gave them their number. Because I was like, I think you should meet Monica Grace. I've been telling her that for a while. And then finally they had a phone conversation, and then finally met up when we went to the diner and they hung out, and it's like they knew each other forever.
Okay.
But anyways, we're sitting at the table and Monica just flips open the Bible, not looking for anything or nothing like that. She just pulls it open and she's like, wow. She's like, David she goes to 1 Chronicles, 25. It says David organizes the musicians. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, because we're working on putting together this concert with Lecrae.
Okay.
We're working on putting together this concert with Bizzle and Zonti and a dude named Mac that's in the local area. That's going to be at Crossover Church September 24th, which is what. Wow, we're like a week away.
Yeah, it's a week.
So, yeah, we need to sell some tickets. But that's another thing. We're leaning on God. Like, God's gonna come through. Yeah. We feel it. But so before that, it says like David organizes the priests.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I've been sitting. Like, I went to dinner with Pastor Samuel the other day.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I've been sitting down with church leaders and talking, and about what we can do moving forward. Then it says, David organized the Levites. David prepares for temple building. David builds an altar. I can't build anything. I suck at building, but I can put people together that know how to do stuff.
You build
right?
in different ways.
Yeah.
You build connections that build other things.
But prior to that, in 1 Chronicles,
it's crazy, right? You cannot make this stuff up.
You can't.
But it says, but before all that, David had to defeat his enemies. So like, I had to defeat my own giants.
Yeah.
So. It just was like really ironic.
And she just opens up the Bible.
She just opens to that page and starts talking about that. And then all this stuff is like really happening, And I'm like, and the thing is, like, God will use people that are like unqualified, because like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But I just keep following him. I'm like, God, just keep leading me, man. He hasn't led me wrong yet.
Sure.
And I'm just kind of like, I don't have my hands on the steering wheel. And I'm just like, but it's the heart, right?
Yeah.
So by going after his heart, like, I'm trying to look at what everyone's best interest is, and with no money involved or nothing like that. But I feel like the money's gonna come.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, yo, like, what's happening is like a team is like coming like together, and it's like, yeah.
And that's what it's supposed to be like. Like, we're supposed to let things come to us and not chase. Our job basically is just to be.
Right.
Yes.
Just be.
Yo, Common has a song like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Be.
It's that was one of his first albums, right?
Yeah. One of them.
Common's first album was hard, man, and I loved it. And shout out to Ye. So I'm gonna let y'all know.
That was a good. He did do that one with Kanye, didn't he? One of his first ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is with Ye, I'm gonna say this. He's right. He's not crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything he's saying, like, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man, because whatever you're putting out, I believe you, because we live in a very corrupted world. So it's but things are changing now.
Okay.
So I'm with him on that.
Absolutely.
So because he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot that a lot of people won't believe.
Yeah.
But with my intuition has been telling me, my guys has been telling me, like, he's not lying.
No.
So there's some things that a lot of artists are not doing right now because, oh man, what the industry is about, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Well, Kanye sees things in a different way, but you're right. I mean, he just sees it differently. It doesn't make it false. He's right.
Yeah. So that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I definitely see Kanye.
I love his music.
Yeah, I do too, man. And he's
a
a genius.
Yeah,
he really is. but the world comes in and like, it's kind of messed him up, but he stepped back.
Sure.
He came back and I think he went in a spiritual route.
Yeah, he did.
And and people think he's weird and all that, but it's
he's
like,
not at all.
He's really like finding himself.
Like the thing is,
found himself possibly.
I feel like I'm in the same position as much because I've been called crazy before. I've been called like, you don't know anything Christian or all these things. So for me, it's just like, of course, I'm not going to say I know everything. I mean, nobody does.
Only God does.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, I'm going to listen to my feeling.
Yeah.
Because it's about feeling.
Okay.
Not just seeing to believe it. That does not exist. It's all about what you feel about it. If you think something's not right, then feel that. People like to resist that.
Okay.
That's why a lot of people right now, people are resisting the work as we speak, because people are it's stuck into the matrix illusion. Oh, I gotta go to work, I gotta go do this, I gotta go do that, oh, I gotta pay the bills, I understand.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's other ways.
Yeah.
But those jobs that you're going to, man, they don't care what you got going on. They don't care if you do the work. They don't care who you really are.
Sure.
It's all about just making that money. And the thing is, just like, I've been in that position before and I was unhappy.
Yeah.
So it didn't show me who the work that I was doing, because I was getting away from that because this was in the way.
Yeah.
So basically, when you're doing the work on you, you're getting all these blessings coming to you now, because you're shedding all this toxic Glock off of you, man, because it's been stuck on you your whole life. And the more you just leave it on, then shoot, man, like pretty soon you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
So
the work you were doing before wasn't fulfilling, is what you're saying. It was kind of just like just going through the motions to make money. Okay.
And I didn't realize that. And don't get me wrong, like my last job, I worked at a school called Plato Academy, and the other one was the Seminole Rec Center. Best jobs I ever had in my entire life. Like, I worked at so many jobs that I was unhappy with. Like, I worked at Publix, I worked at another supermarket, worked at a factory, in a laboratory, a hotel. I had so many jobs.
Yeah, same here, man.
And
I worked at Wendy's. I was the delivery guy. I worked in like retail, man. I've just done everything. You know what I'm saying?
And it just didn't. You feel like it was like, man, I'm more than this, man. What am I doing? And that's what I felt like.
Yeah.
But when it came to these past trips I had with the kids, it was one of the best jobs ever, because the reason why I say that is because of those kids. I look forward to going to work because of them.
Yes.
And once that happened, like, the universe, God showed me blessings.
Okay.
That's how I got into TV. That's how I met some other actors. It just came out of nowhere. Like, I asked for it, and they just gave it to me. It's like, okay, here, because you're feeling blessed. Because every time, like, I woke up, I pray before I go, and I read all these affirmations. Like, I have affirmations on my oh my God, my mind's blocked. I have a board at home where I write all these things
like a
down.
vision board?
Yeah, vision board. There you go, vision board.
Okay.
And I write affirmations down. And then every time, like, after I meditate, I read the affirmations. I repeat them over and over again. There's some things I wrote down in my journal. I rip it out. I put it right next to my my crystals and all. So it's powerful. You say these things loud and saying, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you."
Thank you. Gratitude.
And like I say that when I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
Because you're cleansing yourself too. So, and there's this one guy in the gym, he says it's so loud after he does his deadlifts, man. He's so powerful when he says, he's like, "Thank you, Lord.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesus." Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? And it's powerful, you know what I mean? And yeah, I always remember that. But yeah, man, I've done that, and that's why that job has blessed me so much. Like that, I had a really cool boss as well too. Her name was Miss Green, and she was amazing. And she helped me out so much. She looked after me. And it was just a blessing of a job I ever had. But now when it came to leaving, of course, it was a bit sad for a bit, but spirit hit me.
Okay.
And this is what really got to me was this was around the pandemic. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna go there.
Yeah,
yes.
I caught that.
I'm gonna go there. So like for me, I never been. When it comes to COVID and all that, man, like, I'm gonna let y'all know, like, that's a distraction.
Yeah. Okay.
God that doesn't do that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So Spirit hit me around there. And this is the time that, when the pandemic, everything was exploding out, showing everything what was going on around the world. And I got deeper and deeper with the kids that I was taking care of. But at the same time, Spirit was like, literally told me, my voice, it's time to go. It's time to hit your purpose. Of course, at that time, I was like, man, I don't want to leave these kids. I don't want to. They were like, no, I'm going to show you. If you give me your hand, I'm going to show you. So I paid attention. And when that time came and I put my 2 weeks, man, like they were kind of surprised, that I was going to be leaving. And it said everything, man. Like Spirit told me, they were like, no, you're doing the right thing. Just don't be afraid.
Yeah.
And of course, leaving those kids was pretty sad here and there, but at the same time, they understood where I was coming from. Because, bro, I'm gonna tell you this: children today, they're awake than most adults today.
Okay,
they're awake.
Yeah.
Wow.
They know what's going on.
They're exposed to a lot today too. Like when we were kids, we weren't exposed to nearly as much as they are. You know?
Nah.
It's a different time, man.
Well, there's no less secrets.
Oh, yeah.
It's all out in the open now.
Oh yeah, they're in tune. They're tapped in and turned on.
Yeah.
They're tapped in with Source and they're with them. So
I agree.
So a lot of angels are with them as we speak, and I pray about this because every single day. And yeah, man, like they understood what I had to do, and of course they told me, hey man, don't forget, when I have my basketball game at high school or football, like I'm gonna just come through. I'm like, yeah, I got you. So to this day, I go, I support.
Yeah.
If I can, I can. They got me on the meeting because we didn't have this type of social media platform back in the day.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? So it was a bit tough. The only thing we had was MySpace, but MySpace didn't do much. Remember that?
I do.
So
there was MySpace and there was Zanga. I had a Zanga, man.
oh man, AOL,
Yeah.
all those gems, man, that we
Yes.
went throughout that nostalgia things that we had. And man, I remember when I left, like I literally, man, I had no job. Spirit told me, they're like, no, 9 to 5 is not for you anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know why. And after that, this is when I started to, okay, we got to start doing the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went out in nature. I started to ground myself, went to the beach. I was just told my stories myself. And of course, I was getting booked for Rick at that time and getting bookings for other things that I was getting booked for. But I was so focused on this path that I really wanted to know who I really was. And, even though I was, but at the same time, I feel like I wanted to know more.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of emotional things. I haven't cried a lot at that time. Like, it was just showing me everything. And, of course, when you ground yourself in nature, it's powerful, man. It's healing.
Yeah.
And you're just being one with Gaia. And Gaia, really shows you the way. Man, like, I still do it to this day. It's so important. So important to be outside, especially sun gazing too, because that sun will give you a lot of codes, a lot of DNA, activation.
Okay.
And because right now, we're all activated as we speak.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're not because we take off our armor, but when we're at home, we want to relax or whatever. So, but yeah, man, like it really, really got me to another part of an awakening, and it felt so good. Like I start to see things like how it's not supposed to be. And that's when like I was just like, man, like this is what I want to attract.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You can catch all of our episodes on YouTube and Spotify at Better Gents Podcast, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Better Gents Pod. Thank you and take care.